Good morning. Today we'll be talking about the video Remember the Titans, and we should be getting excited. It's the end of the semester almost. Many of us will be graduating. Good having a class with you guys, but here we go. Alright, the styles of leadership between the coaches. Coach Boone and Coach Yost both used an authoritarian style of leadership. And I say that because during that time frame, everybody was against segregation. Everybody was for segregation, and back in those times, it doesn't matter if you were white or black or Asian or whatever ethnicity group that you were hated because of it. And also the mentality of the general public, like I just said, everybody hated one another, and they believed that, blacks and whites shouldn't go to the same school, they shouldn't do any other activities together, and Coach Boone really took that and was able to unify that at the end of the movie. If you could tell, one of the players was in the hospital, and their black teammate walks in and he says, "Don't you see the family resemblance? Like, that's my brother." And you can just tell that a bond was created towards the end of that movie. Also, they used a transformational style of leadership. They needed their biggest thing as a high school team was that they needed to influence the community around them and the county, or possibly the overall state around them, which is what they did towards the end of the movie after you realize they started winning games. They used inspiration and tough motivating to build a true family. At the beginning of it all, when they first met with one another, they hated it just because of what their families and friends thought that should be a good idea, to hate each other. Everything that Coach Boone did, or Coach Boone told them to do, like when they went off to camp, when they got on the buses and went off to camp, Coach Boone was right there with them, doing everything, whether it was running to the cemetery or running or just running laps around the track. And everyone had each other's backs on the team. Towards the end, everybody kind of knew that it was a family, even though Coach Boone got the grunt of all the bad things, like rocks being thrown through his window and everything like that. They rallied behind him. The emulating process, who and what would I emulate? That would be definitely Coach Boone's authoritarian style leadership, only because he used it in such a positive way that it not only influenced the high school later on down the road, but it influenced the community as well. He was a great advice giver. With everything going on, racism and all that other stuff going on, he still was able to give good advice to get the overall goal achieved. And he also used a transformation style of leadership again. He changed the views of the overall team, which is something people have trouble with doing, especially when it comes to influencing and motivating people to do such. And also, like I said before, he was also always doing drills with the teams. Like, he was there waiting for them, watching, teaching, and doing everything a great coach would do. Kelly's fellowship description. I want to pick two scenes out here, only because one scene in that movie wouldn't be good enough. The first thing I want to do is when the team first met each other, you could just tell the fellowship between Coach Boone, Coach Yost. The fellowship between them was weak. Everybody was weak-minded. But eventually they had to buy in to they always bought into what the public was doing. They always bought into what, they go to school every day, get dropped off every day, or ride the bus home. They always listened to their parents. They didn't see the overall goal of unifying the whole entire high school. And a lot of them, they needed that guidance. They needed Coach Boone's guidance to tell them, hey, this is how we should not roll. Like, we should not roll this way. And the second scene is actually when the team rallies together. I believe it's the scene right before I forgot his name, but he ends up in the hospital, and that's when you can tell everybody's starting to turn into a family. Doesn't matter if you're white or black or what other ethnicity group you were. And the team actually fights against the public. Like, they see the good that Coach Boone's doing. They see the good that, the direction that he's trying to go in, and they see that racism doesn't really need to exist, and they're actually fighting against it, but not in a physical way. They're basically showing, the fans that come to the games and the people who keep up with them that racism really shouldn't exist. And they actually really did make a difference in the overall community. Like, you can see it just in the fan section when the camera takes it over to the fans. Before, at the very very beginning, you saw players' dads, yelling at Coach Boone saying, "Why isn't my kid in?" or "Why is this kid in front of me?" or "Why is he even starting?" And towards later, as the movie goes forward later on, you can tell, they're all cheerful. They all want the best for the team. They obviously want the best for the community, and they want Coach Boone to actually have an overall winning record. And the desired change I would like to touch on is Coach Boone absolutely did a phenomenal job on playing a huge part of this, only because he was the leader of the high school team. But the coach has to be the leader. The community rallied behind him later after they treated him like crap. And he touched and affected the lives of not only the players, but also the fans in the stands. Just by the fans watching, you could tell that Coach Boone had some impact on their life. And he also made the overall goal achievable, where a high school can exist with black and white people, or black or any ethnicity group with them. And he also created an excellent example why racism shouldn't really exist. It shouldn't exist in the first place. But he also gave a good example of actually someone going through hell, with the way that the community treated him, and actually coming out on top. And I always like those type of stories, when someone goes through a load of crap and they still reach the overall goal and still make it on top. It's always an excellent show or book or scene. He showed the bond between a team and family, no matter what the outcome was. It doesn't matter if they win or lost. It's just like nowadays with football now, win or lose, we're still gonna go home. We're not gonna hate each other, but we're also gonna let that loss build us as a team. Let that win build us as a team. So either or, I think Coach Boone is an example of my desired change. And any questions, by all means, please put them in the comments below. Thank you, guys.